How about favorite Yella story?
Oh God.
I know it's
Like
gonna be
Yella
hard
the-
to pick one, but
Yella
No.
the person or like Yella Designs?
Oh man. Well, they're
Yeah.
Inseparable.
So let me give you a little story about I think my favorite Yellow story is probably our Kansas trip.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, but before I say that, one of my other all-time favorite Yellow stories is when I had switched over from BMX to mountain biking, and somehow or other, Yellow and I get invited to Crankworks. Like the first one. And Yellow, I convinced Yellow that he needs to be on a mountain bike also. Like we can totally run the contests series, right?
Yeah.
Like we got this shit. Next thing you know, it is best trick. And the guy literally goes for a decade over this jump. God, just the way
It's
this
the
course
biggest
was
jump
built.
I've ever seen live.
Yeah, well at the time it definitely
Yeah.
was. The courses now are definitely a lot bigger than what that course was. But
the bikes are way better and different.
the bikes are way better.
Yellow also was brakeless except for a front brake.
He shows up to a slope style event where it's all downhill, and he's just rocking a front brake. I'm like, what is that gonna do for you? Are you what the hell is up? Like you're creaming down this mountain at 35 miles an hour, hitting these monster jumps, and you got a front brake on your bike.
Well, and I love that you're like the coach in this scenario, and you had already given yourself a gnarly concussion because you'd smashed into a tree like second run of the day.
Yeah, like during warm-ups, like I decide to man up, and what they did is this course was, oh God. This course was not laid out the greatest, but they thought it would be really awesome to hang a wall ride up on this tree. And you come around this like bridge. It's like a 90-degree bridge that you could jump over this little hip. And that's what every single person did. Well, they decided to mount this wall up against it. No one had hit it yet. And in Zach Lewis fashion, I'm like, I bet you I can hit that wall. And sure as shit, I hit the wall. I bounce off the wall. I land onto this like 4-foot wide bridge that you had to land on, and then you went shooting out between trees that were like 4 feet wide, and you're on this bridge, and down below where this tree is probably about a 12-foot drop or so. I come off the wall, I hang left just a hair, smash into the tree, literally have a brand new carbon fiber helmet. A tree branch sticks into it.
And, it's a savage crash.
It's savage. Like, yeah, straight up. They said it sounded like a 22 had been shot off at the top of the chairlift when I hit. I hit the tree so hard. Dropped down like 12 feet to into this little gully. Yellow is like translating to the, the medical team. He's fine, don't worry. And he's answering questions for me. Like I'm laying there trying to get my feeling back, making sure that I'm still alive. I'm not saying anything. Like I'm doing like the full, feel my fingers, feel my toes. And Yellow's like, he's fine. You're fine, right, Zach? And I just kind of nod my head a little bit, And he convinces him, yeah, Zach's fine. I'll sign the document for him that he doesn't have to get on the ambulance. They're like, well, he has to sign it. I'm like, can he sign it for me? Like, no, you have to sign it to prove
right there.
you have to sign it to prove that you're okay. No, all right, I sign off on it. Ambulance leaves. Contest is going. I'm in La La Land.
But you're still giving him advice. That's the best part. Is Yella's listening to your advice.
Yeah.
Knowing full well that like nothing you're saying is making sense.
Yeah, like I'm talking to the birds. Like I'm talking to the birds. And the next thing I know, best trick starts. I'm competing.
I can't believe they let you back in.
I can't believe that they let me back in either. But I was wearing overalls, and no one's going to tell a dude in overalls no.
Yeah, that's
Yellow
a confidence that can't be stopped.
Right. Yellow's wearing red, white, and blue American flag pants.
That's right. I forgot about his Evel Knievel pants.
Yeah, and no one's going to tell that guy no.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. And the next thing I know, he goes flying off of this jump.
CO2 alert.
Does a decade. And literally ends up breaking both his ankles and his wrist. And, like, that's the guy that's my best friend. like, it makes you realize no matter how tough you think you are,
Gravity still exists.
you're not tough. Because that guy rode himself down to the emergency room on his bicycle.
Oh, yeah. He set his own wrist
Yeah.
with his other broken wrist. Like,
Oh, yeah.
the most insane
I'm
thing.
sitting in the ER room with him, and he's like doing the job of the doctor, like pulling his arm down like it's in this like Chinese sling, and he's pulling his arm down like this. And
Yeah. Big shout out to Brian Gavagan and Yella
huge
Designs,
shout out,
'cause
but you know,
the absolute man.
the best 30 seconds of my life with Yellow though is we were headed to Kansas for a bike show, and literally we are in the craziest snowstorm you've ever been in. I-70 is shut down. We had just made it through the gate. You know, they'd shut down probably 5 minutes after we make it through the gate. We're cruising across. Wind is going crazy. You can't see hardly at all in front of you. You know what I mean? Maybe a couple 100 yards at best. If you see brake lights ahead of you, you might be able to see them for 100 yards at best. We're probably rolling at, yellow design speed.
Yeah.
And conditions that shouldn't be that bad. Like everyone's probably doing like 15 miles an hour. We're doing probably like 45.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we look and it looks like a semi has been tipped over. And sure as shit, there's a semi laying across I-70.
Jeez.
And Yellow comes with me, and I'm sitting in the front seat. And he looks me dead in the eye and says this: "Through it or around it."
That's so great. Yellow's the only person where like he has such an uncluttered mind that he truly saw through it as an option.
Yeah, he's like he literally looked at it and goes, "Through it or around it," and I'm just sitting there going, dude, this isn't Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how many movies you watch, but you think we're gonna, we're hauling a ramp. We got the box, we got the box jump behind us. We're in a Suburban. I'm like, I don't know how you think that this Suburban hauling this ramp, we're gonna just magically jump through this semi. But that's truly what he was thinking. Is he's like, through it or around it, and it just caught me off guard, and I sat there for a second, and I just looked at him. He goes, "Through it or around it?" And I'm like, around it. Next thing you know, he literally punches it.
Jeez.
Just flat out punches the gas pedal as hard as he can. So we go flying into this ditch and come out around it. We get stuck on the side of the road because the ramp had gotten its wheels wedged in the mud on the side of the road, and it kind of got us stuck on the side of the road. And some dude in a military guy in a Durango saw that we went around it, and so he went around it in his Durango, but he wasn't hauling anything. So he stops, reverses, pulls us out.
What a guy.
Like just super stoked about it. And
That's fantastic.
it was a great time. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like that's what again, like there's something so surreal about like the way that guy thinks of like, yeah, why wouldn't this work? I feel like that's something that just in general is something I learned from him. And also from you, like that Zach Lewis confidence of like, why wouldn't this work?
Oh,
I feel like that's such a powerful thought. I feel like most people might not be thinking that in the same situation, right? They're probably thinking like, oh, we're going to have to be sitting here for the next like 5 hours until this thing gets flipped back on its wheels or cleared, versus his thought process is always, why wouldn't this work? And we could literally talk for hours of stuff that should never have worked, and somehow he pulls it off clean. And you're like, what? Yeah, that's pretty rad.